This is really cool. Wow. Thank you very much. We have a trophy room. When you're married to Serena Williams, you have a trophy room in the house. My portion of the trophy room includes the 8th grade soccer team, the Velociraptors, that went undefeated. That's my only contribution in the trophy room. But now I have a new one. So take that. Take that, Serena. New edition. Thank you. Thankfully, I found my calling was in technology and not sports. It's an honor, to have spent 15 years of my life building and then reforming Reddit. In doing so, it was an even greater honor for me to resign from the Reddit board in protest of some pretty deplorable policies that permitted communities of violence, gore, racism to build and propagate. And, that was 5 years ago. And at the time, it was a pretty isolating moment for me because I stepped away from something that was my identity, really, since I had left college. I never could have expected that in just 5 years of building in women's sports to have this become one of my greatest professional honors. So thank you, TIME100, especially for recognizing that creating real progress in women's sports is a legacy worth being known for. And it is a legacy that I want my girls to know. Oh, thank you. And it's also not lost on me that in those 15 years, I never once got a TIME100 award for building Reddit. And 5 years in, after founding control owner of Angel City FC and the work we've done since, this feels pretty damn good. So thank you for that. When I first laid out this vision, it was on Twitter. I'd had a couple of drinks and I ranted about how undervalued women's professional sports was and how women's sports could and should become a multi-billion-dollar industry. I laid it all out, and it was audacious to some, ambitious to most, but obvious to me. And there were lots of people trolling me in those comments. You can still see the tweet 5, 6 years later, telling me no one watches women's sports, you're an idiot, you're gonna lose all your money. And I saved screenshots of most of those tweets. And I saved those screenshots because I feast on their tears. Every time we hit a new revenue milestone, every time we have another sellout crowd, every time we hit another record-breaking valuation, I update the world and then I tag those trolls from 5 years earlier and thank them. I'm petty. I can't deny it. But it's been amazing because what I saw in those early comments were also a lot of people who said, yes, we are huge fans of women's soccer, women's football. We are huge fans of fill in the blank. And like you saw in the video there, even though my wife did technically try to talk me out of it when I said I was going to start a women's soccer team at first, she's the reason why I knew that it could work. Because even to this day, in the United States and I think around the world, women's tennis is viewed as just as real, just as valuable, just as rich a sport as men's. In fact, more Americans watch the US Open women's final every year than the men. Google it. And it doesn't even need to have American women in the final. It's crazy. Djokovic was chasing history, and there were 2 non-American women in the US Open final. More Americans still watch the women. And why did that happen? Billie Jean King fought for pay equity, and then 2 little girls from Compton saw that they could make a great living playing a sport, and they changed the world. Okay? And so if you can align the monetary opportunity, thank you, greatness will show up. And if you give greatness that platform, it will change the world. And so that's what I'm in the business of. I want to spend the rest of my career trying to celebrate and honor greatness, and it just so happens it's women playing sports. So let me be clear. This is the beginning. There's much more to do. And one of the greatest privileges in the last 5 years has been getting to know the athletes who are actually driving this movement. Alex Morgan, I always have to give her flowers. She was the one who replied in my tweet 5, 6 years ago saying, hey, I can help. And I spent hours with her just trying to learn what was necessary to change the sport. Gabby Thomas, Midge Purse, Sha'Carri Richardson, Tara Davis-Woodhall. These are just a few of the women who answered my calls because they shared the same vision. And it was that the game will change when we finally market women's athletic excellence. All right, and these women are motivated. The investors are galvanized and the momentum is real. But we're done, most importantly, talking about women's sports as charity. Even well-intentioned support sometimes held women's sports back. These athletes don't want to be anyone's charity case. They don't want to exist in the margins, all right? And they want to be celebrated for more than just being role models, right? Messi doesn't come off the pitch and get asked, how does it feel to have inspired a generation of young boys to play football, right? They want to be celebrated for being world-class competitors. And as women's sports grows, and believe me, it will, Let's make sure that we build it better than what came before and learn from the mistakes of men's sports too. One way we've tried to do that is by incentivizing athletes with ownership. This is really important to me when we started building in this space. And one of the best moments in my career was actually at Reddit IPO Day, knowing that there were executive assistants who became millionaires. Right? The power of equity does a lot in startup world. It doesn't have to just be the CEO that gets a payday. Every single member of the team aligned with equity can do big things. So when we built Athlos, which is the F1, I know I'm saying that very humbly knowing where I am and in front of Zach, we aspire to be the F1 of track and field. And so as we build this, we want to give athletes real equity, real participation in the upside. And it wasn't just a feature, it was a foundation of what we're building. And finally, I want to say this, I'm excited to welcome people in, everyone, okay? There is plenty of room on this bandwagon. And that's what gives me hope for the future, right? When people try to gatekeep women's sports, it just sets us back. So we have so much more room to grow. If you have even a passing interest, you don't have to be a girl dad. I'm a proud girl dad of 2 daughters. You do not have to be a girl dad. And remember, don't get it twisted. This is not charity. This is about business. And the bigger the bandwagon, that means more fans, that means more investors, that means more storytellers, that means more brands, and that means the faster we get to the future that we all see coming. So I'm grateful for this recognition. Again, I'm going to be very excited to bring this home to the trophy room. But I'm even more grateful for the chance to build an industry and a movement where my daughters can one day say, look at what is possible when the world stops underestimating women. So Olympia, Adira, you guys are my inspiration and my guiding light. I love you so much. Serena, thank you for providing the blueprint and putting up with how stubborn your husband is. You are truly unmatched. And to all of you, thank you so much. TIME100, thank you so much. And believe me, the rise of women's sports is just getting started. It ain't charity, it is business, it is excellence. Let's celebrate it. Thank you.